you can truly accomplish anything that you want when you decide to do it and you take action. Because this year, right, I had my content agency that I scaled to 30K a month. And during that process, I always wanted to launch like a coaching program or a course, but I had so many limiting beliefs about that, right? But when I finally decided to do it and stop going back and forth about is this the right time or not, when I finally decided to do it and when I took action, right, it did crazy numbers. Like within 2 weeks, I cash collected over $24,000. And at that moment, I was like, wow, like because I decided and took action, it worked. And I think too often do we overthink things, right? Too often do we feel like it's not the right time, or we overthink and we don't make decisions because we think we're not ready, but maybe we are. Like once you decide, right, like whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, you're correct. Like your mind doesn't know any different. So it's best to understand that when you decide to do something, you can actually achieve it. Now, how long that thing takes, that's different, right? That depends on skills that you've developed over the years. That depends on where you're starting versus where you're currently going, right? Like it all depends on that. But when you actually decide on something, in my experience, what I've learned the most is that it can actually happen. That's what manifesting is. Like you plant seeds and those seeds grow, right? And it doesn't matter how long it takes. For some people it's shorter, for some people it's longer. It all depends on where you're starting personally. But as long as you decide and take action, anything can happen. You can achieve anything, right? So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned in 2023. The next thing that I learned is it's okay to be the villain in some people's stories. Like you don't have to be the hero to everybody. You don't have to be liked by everybody. It's okay to be the villain, right? And I say that because I did something like that I regret on how I did it, but I'm not regretful that I did it, if that makes sense. So when I announced the shutdown of my content agency, right, instead of calling my clients on the phone, especially my day one clients, I decided just to send an email because it was something that I was going back and forth with for months at that point. And I knew that if I talked to some of them directly, I could have talked myself out of making that decision, right? So I sent out an email and it was a reactionary email. A lot of thought didn't necessarily go into it at that moment. It was like, hey, because we had like a, we all deal with bad clients, right? And I just been at my wit's end. I was like, you know what? Forget it. People don't appreciate me like I feel like I should be appreciated. Granted, that's not everybody, right? Because the thing is, like, some of the bad apples always, just like with like negative comments, right? We get so many good comments, but it's those negative ones that we pay attention to. So that's just life. Like we pay attention more to the negative things. It's sad, but it's true. So I was irritated, and I was like, I'm just gonna make this decision now. I'll call people afterwards. I'll touch base with people afterwards. So I just sent an email, and the email didn't even go into much detail. It's like, hey, this was a good run. We've decided to shut down. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Right? That was the gist of it. And we're also planning on moving, which we haven't done because we're having a child, and we feel like our child should be raised around our family. So that changed everything for us. But I sent the email, and a lot of people got pissed. Some people cussed me out. Some people were like, good for you, right? And I did not expect that reaction. And I'll probably never do something like that again. Next time I'll just call everyone individually, especially people who I've built, deeper connections with. But, it was still a decision that I need to make for me and for my family. And that's why I did it, because at the end of the day, people care about themselves the most. But from that, I've learned that, okay, For this situation, some people might think I'm the villain, right? Maybe they feel like I left them hanging. But that's just life. Like, you can't be good to everybody, because I had to make a decision that was best for me and my family and where I was at, right? I was burnt out, right? Burnt out completely. I didn't want to do it anymore. I just didn't at that moment. And that's because I give. Like, I'm the type of person who under promises and over delivers. But when you do that, right, it's good for long-term value. But when you're over delivering, people don't always acknowledge that you're over delivering for them, or they think that they're the reason for your success, right? So I said, okay, it's like a Jay-Z line, right? Like, if you think you made me, make another me, right? That's the views I have on it. So am I the villain in some people's stories? Maybe, but I'm comfortable with that. That's my truth. And I've learned from it, and I won't make that same mistake again in the future. But you live and you learn, life goes on, right? And time heals all wounds. So it's okay to be the villain in someone's story. That's number 2 thing I learned. But based on that, right? Another thing I learned is just continue to trust my gut. Because the moment I decided to do that, a lot of stress left my body and my mind, and I was able to start building the things that I actually wanted to build. I was able to take my time to be deliberate, because certain things has happened to me. Like, that content agency kind of took a life of its own. All of a sudden I was making money, a lot of money, right? For that amount of time. But it wasn't bringing the most joy. The joy that gave me was freedom and being a boss. But I learned that I don't want to do certain things. Like, I don't want to do so much for so many people. Like, I learned that I'm best at advising people, and I prefer to do the actual thing, but to do it for myself and not so much for other people. So trusting my gut, when I made that decision to shut down my agency, it's crazy how I instantly started making more faster, right? Like, it took me about 7 months to get to 30K a month, right? It took me 14 days to make over 20K with my coaching. So if I didn't trust my gut, that would have never happened. So, that's why you have to trust God. And even if things seem like they're not the most logical decision, it still makes sense to take them, to take the leap, jump into the darkness, right? That's what I did with that situation. I was like, oh, hope it works, but it has, and it's going to continue to do it, because now I have more confidence in myself, in my abilities. So just always trust your gut. If you're dealing with a situation where you're not sure, trust your gut. But also, you have to have a good gut. So good gut health, right? Like eating healthy, eating clean, working out. That will help you make the right decisions also. So you can't go into a gut feeling when your gut isn't even healthy. That's like an underrated thing. Like, make sure you're keeping your gut healthy so that you can actually, feel those gut feelings. Third thing I've learned is it's so valuable to join communities that share the same values and goals that you have, that you feel aligned with. So I joined a few coaching programs in the past, and I wasn't completely aligned with them. I felt like I wouldn't say like I felt like I didn't belong, but they didn't feel like my people, right? Like, they didn't feel like my type of people. But I joined another program recently, and like, bro, these are all my people. Like, I vibe with them heavy. We all have similar interests. We all have similar interests, right? We want to have a lot of time freedom, work from home, travel. We're very creative. We have content agencies, right? We're all online coaches. We're young, right? We don't care. Like, okay, like, some people are afraid to talk about the money that they make. No, you need to talk about the money that you make, because it helps people, right? And that's the stuff that get the click. That's the stuff that people are attracted to, and those are things that get the clicks. But it's about helping people, right? We're not afraid about doing things that help people, right? So I found my tribe. I've also created my own tribe of people who I feel very connected to, because it's very similar interests. So when you have a community, of like-minded individuals with the same values and goals, like you feel like you're on the right path because you have other people there who are on similar paths as you, who are all shooting for the same thing, right? So community is so important because once you find your people, you don't want to let go of that. You want to stay connected. You want to grow with them. You can motivate each other. So it's very, very, very important to find a community. And to go with that, right, you have to trust God's timing. So I learned a lot about trusting God's timing because me and my wife, we had plans of moving to Orange County, California. So that was one reason why we decided to shut down our agency. We had plans of moving to Orange County, California, right? And before even that, I was telling her, like, I want us to start trying to have children, right? I want us to actually start trying to have children, right? So then we go on a vacation on a cruise, a 7-day cruise. After we shut down the agency, so we was like, whew, we got a good break. We got to actually relax and just, be in the moment, right? We're on the water, so very hard to contact us.
Yeah, man.
How's it going, man?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks, man.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's all good, man.
All right.
Yeah. So we were on a cruise in the middle of nowhere, right? Service bad, couldn't talk to anybody. So we're just living in the moment. And from that, right, fast forward a few weeks, my wife ended up being pregnant. And the 3 days before we're going to Orange County to put down our deposit on a luxury apartment, right, we found out that she was pregnant. And it's like, wow, God's timing is just impeccable, right? Obviously, he didn't want us moving there, right? And during this time too, I just started, right after, I just started juice fasting, going on a juice cleanse. So I was sacrificing a lot, right? For God to give me a sign, to get those gut feelings, right? I was praying, because a lot happens when you fast, right? It's biblical, like fasting. A lot of people fast and a lot of good things come from it. But through that, we have a baby boy on the way. And I'd say that's all just by trusting God and his timing. Because I said, hey, I want to start having kids. And he gave us a child. But it's not the way we thought. I thought to be within the next year when we're in Orange County, living our life. Because because my wife, she hadn't had a period in like over a year, right? So it's very it's the ultimate gift because we thought we would need extra help, but it turns out we didn't. We just had to trust in God, right? And his timing. And he's, gave us the child. She's at this point going on 17 weeks, and we decided not to move yet so that we can raise him with our family, right? And he can be around his grandparents, his uncles, his aunties. So it's crazy how that works, man. Like God's timing is like impeccable. Another thing that's like, hey, I trust you, you lead the way. Because whenever I try to do too much and to take too much control, things fall out of whack. So I follow God, and it was just another situation that confirmed that, hey, you need to follow God. So that's another thing I learned. Also, like I mentioned earlier, but like health as well. So whenever I've made big changes in my life, it's usually around the time where I'm consistent, working out, being healthy, eating well, right? On those days where I feel super lazy, super unmotivated, it never fails. It's because I haven't moved, because I've been inconsistent, because I haven't been healthy. So for me, it all starts with health, right? Like as soon as I start to hit the gym, as soon as I start to walk, as soon as I start to eat better, my mind gets clearer and I get more energy to fight the good fight and to go for my goals. So I got into boxing over the past year. That helped a lot. Just focusing on, technique as a de-stressor. Like, no lie, like I'll envision people's heads on those bags. I'll envision someone's head on that bag when I'm like pissed off, right? And I get it out, and that helped a lot. That definitely helped a lot. And then juice fasting helped me understand that I am a disciplined person, right? It's just about having the right habits. So I don't have the best habits right now. Like it may look like, but I still stay up late. I'll still sleep in, right? But just at least trying to stay consistent is enough to be consistent, if that makes sense. Because as humans, like, oh, let me wake up at 7 a.m. every day and go to the gym. Like, bro, you're not going to do that all the time, right? Like, let me do my morning routine. Like, you're not going to be able to do that all the time, right? Like, I'll have these what I have to work on for 2024 is I'll have these good stretches of being so consistent, and then I'll go on a trip, right? I'll travel, and it just turns everything off. It throws me off. So going into 2024, that's my shift, that no matter where I travel, I have to stay consistent, but I have to do it in a way where it's not like a morning routine that just throws me off. It's like, no, I have to work out a day. I have to work out every day. I have to get some type of movement every day. If I focus on that, I think that I can get the goal done of being active and working out. But if I have to do it at 9 a.m. every day, and then I'm traveling and I'm not boxing or something, and it throws me off, right? So I have to focus on that. But that was to say that health is wealth, obviously. And then going into 2024, I want to get more laser focused on that. And then, let's see what I got here. So the 2024 goals, right? Let me raise the brightness real quick. Okay. Let me see. Where's the iOS? There we go. A little more brightness right there, okay? So going into 2024, my goals are to consume less and create more. So I am like a very creative person, but I've kind of turned my creative passion, which has been filmmaking, right, into a job and a career, which had made me not want to create so much for myself, because I was doing so much for other people that whenever I was done, I just wanted to relax, watch brain dumb things so I don't have to think about work. Like, holding a camera was work, not fun, right? But now I'm starting to get that energy back about creating, right? Because I can create for myself. I can do the projects that I've always wanted to do. I can try new things because I can spend more time with it. It's not about a deadline. It's about, what do I want to do? What do I want to create, right? And I say consume less and create more because over the past few months, I've been comparing myself to a lot of people by watching their content. Like, it's fine to get inspiration, but if you consume too much, you're gonna lose your own identity. You're gonna lose your own taste, right? You're gonna lose your own ability to create what's authentically you. So going into 2024, that's just my goal right there. Like, focus on creating dope shit, focus on being me. Like, that's why I'm outside right now, right? Like, typically I'd be in my studio with the podcast mic, with the perfect lighting, but right now I'm at a bench by my apartment complex. The water's right here. Got some animals in these bushes, right? The sun's going down, the exposure's changing, but I don't care. I'm just focused on creating and getting my inspiration out and getting more in tune with my inner God, right? Because we are, made in God's image, and God is the ultimate creator. So when we create, we get closer to God, right? It's not just about making money. So like with my new businesses being online, it's like I'm collecting checks daily, weekly, monthly, right? And it's easy because I'm talking to people, I'm advising them, but I'm not creating anything new, which caused me to get bored and feel, like I understand why retired people go back to work, right? Because you still need to you still need to do things with your hands and your mind. You can't give up completely, right? So 2024, more creation, less consuming, more inspiration, right? Trying new things, not being afraid to fail, and not worrying about the algorithm, not worrying about the numbers, just creating dope shit that I personally like. Not, well, oh, I think this will perform better on Instagram, do it this way, or oh, I think this way will be better for the algorithm. Like, nah, bro, fuck that. Like, I'm just creating. Like, social media is moving way too fast, and I want to slow it down. I want people to just listen, to breathe, not want to be so into the clickbaity TikTok reels, like everything's fast, colorful, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, let's keep it real. Like, I'm 30 years old, and my goal is just to keep it real, man. Just keep it real. I also want to focus on being a great dad, first-time dad. And my son's birthday is close to mine. Like, I'm May 18th, and he's supposed to come May 21st. So he could be on my birthday, which is like the ultimate blessing. But excited about that. I'm excited about, working on being like a great husband and being there for my wife, because this is something new for us. So I have to make sure I'm there for her. I'm also very happy that she's a stay-at-home mom now, stay-at-home wife. I've been able to do that. Like, I make enough, and I know how to make enough that she doesn't have to work. I want her to just focus on being the best mom possible. And that's always been her dream. And now she has that dream. And that brings me joy, because all men can't say that they can do that, right? Like, it's hard to make money I take that back. It's not hard to make money these days, but the value of money has decreased. So you can't work a normal job and make a lot of money these days, right? Like, the average person can't. If you're in finance, obviously. If you're a lawyer, doctor, obviously, right? But it's getting increasingly harder for jobs to pay you a lot of money, right? It's competitive. I've had friends get laid off, and they're still looking for a job almost a year later. So you got to take your life into your own hands. And when you do that, it actually gets pretty easy to make money. But you do have to build those skills, right? And I just want to build better habits, right? Like, not go to bed at midnight every night. Maybe, 10 p.m. is good enough for me, so I can wake up like at 7 a.m., right? Because now that I have more freedom, I can wake up when I want. But then if you sleep in too much, if you don't get the right type of sleep, if you go to bed too late, it can throw off your entire day. So my goal is just to build better habits, and also to build with intention, right? Build with intention, do the things that I want, create the things that I want. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Like, be intentional about the things that you want, about the life that you want, and continue to grind it out. Like, reflect on your past year, reflect on the things that you're doing. And when you reflect, you can decide to not make the same mistakes, or to continue to do some of the same things that were working for you. So just be intentional going into 2024, and focus on consuming less and creating more. Consuming less and creating more. Tap into your inner God, and let me know how that goes. But I'm gonna do more videos like this in different locations. I like being outside. But stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.